What's up, guys? Chris Schwartz-Edmisten here from Schwartz-Edmisten Web Design. As excited as I was to release the 7.1 mega menu, I am equally as excited to be announcing the release of the mega menu for 7.0 Brine templates. So if you're a Squarespace web designer that still designs sites for clients on 7.0, this is a great option to add a mega menu to your clients' sites. So let's jump right into the installation and setup of this plugin. So before we jump into the actual installation of the plugin, I wanted to quickly talk about why we would use a mega menu in the first place. So I'm here on the Squarespace main page, and they use a mega menu for their navigation. So there are two reasons that you would use a mega menu. And the first is it's just visually, when you put together a navigation design like this, it's just a much more pleasant experience for the user. So this is a more visual navigation process because we have images here with the links. So the first reason would be because it looks awesome. And the second reason is to organize a bunch of content. So we could never present this many navigation options to a user with the default dropdown in Squarespace. It just can't happen. So the reason that you would use a mega menu in this case is to organize a bunch of options for the user. And this makes it easier to navigate because people can see all of the navigation options for this one category, products, right in front of them. So the IRS website is another good example of not the visual example, but organizing a bunch of content for users. So they use a mega menu drop down here, and under file, there's tons of options to go to from there. So they have a bunch of information. Here's a bunch of different forms that they need people to have quick access to. So it makes sense to have this in a mega menu as opposed to just, a bunch of links that would be harder to digest for the user. So that is why it's really helpful to have a mega menu. And so now let's go ahead and talk about the implementation and setup of this plugin on Squarespace. So I've already gone ahead and I've added the code and the CSS for the plugin to the site. And the first thing that I want to do is go to design and then site styles. And I want to turn off enable Ajax loading. So we want Ajax loading to be off because it can interfere with how scripts run on the website. And so the mega menu plugin might not function properly if Ajax loading is on. So the first thing you should do is go ahead and turn that off. Now I'm going to go back to my custom CSS window, and something that I would want to draw your attention to is the navigation items up here. So if I take away the CSS for the navigation plugin and I reload the frame, so you'll see that the navigation styling changes when you insert the CSS for the plugin. And I had to make some decisions on how the plugin was going to function, and unfortunately this is a side effect of one of them. To make some other things easier, this was a compromise that I had to make. So what I would recommend is make sure you have all of your navigation styling finalized. Like I would make this mega menu installation maybe like one of the last steps on the website. And that's because we can reinsert the styling for the navigation through the custom CSS. But we want to make sure that it's finalized, because if we then went and changed it in the site styles, if we had previously already added the styles via the CSS, those would not update. So make sure you have everything finalized, and I'm going to show you guys how to update the CSS to make sure that your navigation has its styling from the site styles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click just kind of near the navigation, and I'm going to right click and click inspect. And so what we're looking for is the nav header nav. So we're looking for this class right here, this element. It's going to have a nav class header nav. And in my case, because I have my header content in the bottom right layout section over here. So it's in this data NC container bottom right, and then it's nav class header nav. So you'll see in the site styles over here that we have .header nav, and then all of this information is unset. So this is something that I had to do within the plugin. And then we can see all of the original header nav styling that is coming from the site styles. All of that is crossed out. So all we have to do is copy all of this CSS right here. And then we'll jump over to our plugin and we can paste it at the top. And all we're going to do is add -item. And then you'll see our navigation goes back to normal, how it was before we inserted any of the plugin CSS. So that is an annoying little step that needs to be done, but it's pretty straightforward. But now you can kind of see what I mean when if I go back and edit anything in the site styles, it won't update these navigation styling because we've now set the styling in the custom CSS. So now that we have that step out of the way, we can actually tackle adding our mega menu items. So I'm going to navigate back to my pages panel and we can start setting up the mega menu. So the first thing you want to do is create a folder, and let's go ahead and start by adding a mega menu to our services navigation item here. So we're going to add a folder, and this is where the naming convention is very important. So the name of the folder should be mega, and then whatever the name of your navigation item is. So in this case, it's going to be services. So mega space the name of your navigation item. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and then I'll drag it where I want it in the navigation. Now, obviously, I don't want it to be called mega services in the navigation. The only thing that's important for the naming convention is the URL slug. So we can go ahead and delete the mega from the navigation title and the page title. This is the important naming convention. So I'll hit save there. And then we can go ahead and drag our services page into the folder. It doesn't affect the desktop layout, but we'll talk about the mobile layout a little bit later on. So now that we have our folder set up, I'll just toggle that closed and I'll come down here to the not linked section. And this is where we're going to set up an index page. And each section in the index is going to be our navigation item. So the name of this index page is very important. It's going to be mega space menu space pages. And again, this is non-negotiable. The name of this page has to be mega space menu space pages. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter and save that. And the first thing I want to do is click the gear icon and make sure that I go to the SEO tab and I want to check hide page from search results, because I wouldn't want this page to be like a link that someone could find on Google. I just want it to be housing all of my mega menu pages. So now we can start adding pages to our mega menu. So again, the naming convention here is going to be important. So I'm just going to add a page to my not linked section. I'll click the plus, and then I'll click, let's go ahead and do features, and then I'll choose one of these layouts. That way we have a little bit more content to work with. Of course, you can build your mega menu page design from scratch. So the naming convention here for the pages, it's going to be mega space page, and then whatever the name of your navigation item is. So in this case, it'll be services, mega page services. I'm going to go ahead and click enter. And the reason that I wanted to add it to the not linked section and then drag it into my index, as opposed to just adding a section directly to the index, is because when you do it this way, it makes whatever you call the page the URL slug. And again, this is the naming convention that's very important, mega page services. When you just add a section to the index, it automatically just creates a new page with a new page slug. So it just takes a little bit longer to then come in here and fill out the proper naming convention. So that's why I like to add it to the not linked section first and then drag it into my index. Okay, so now that we have our mega page services here, let's go ahead and work on the design a little bit. I want to delete this title, and I'm going to delete these spacer blocks too, because one thing we want to keep in mind is we don't want our mega menu to take up a lot of vertical space on the screen. Otherwise, it's going to cover a lot of our content. So one thing to keep in mind is probably to keep any descriptions that you add pretty short. So I'm going to shorten these a little bit. And then let's go ahead and add images here. So I'm just going to add a already uploaded image. Okay, and then I'll add the last one. Whoops. Okay, and I'll hit apply and I'll save that. Now we're probably gonna see something funky happen. I'm gonna go back to my home page and that'll reload the page, and so that'll make the code run and everything update. So now we can see our services mega menu here. So one thing that is going on that I notice immediately is that the images aren't appearing correctly. So let's go back to our mega page services, and you'll remember when we uploaded them, the image had a really wide aspect ratio, and that's how I want them to appear. But once you reload the page, the images take on a full 100% aspect ratio, and I don't really want that. There we go. So if I go back to edit this page, you'll see that the images have taken on that full aspect ratio. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and drag up the handles here to make these images have that wide aspect ratio again. Now you would want to, when you're designing your mega menu, you would want to go ahead and save each of these different images as the aspect ratio and the dimensions that you would want them to be, to make sure that they're all even. Because when you're dragging the handle like this, it's, you're just eyeballing it. If I was going to be designing this for a client site and I wasn't trying to go quickly for this video, I would want to make sure that they're more accurate than this. So once I hit save there, Squarespace will save that change, and now when we go to our mega menu, we can see that our images are smaller again. Perfect. So quickly, let's talk about changing the background color of the menu. So when you immediately install the plugin, I've changed my background to white. It'll be this light gray color, this EEE color. So you can see that's how we can change the background of the mega menu pages, is with this variable here at menu bg. And so you can change it to really any color that you want. So I'll change it back to white. The problem lies when you want a dark background. That's not really a problem. That's just a different solution. So I can't just make the background black because my text is black here. So this variable should be used for pages that want a light background. If you want a dark background on a page, what you'll do instead, let me just flip this back to light gray. What you'll do instead is upload a banner image to your mega menu section. So for example, if we want this mega page services to have a dark background, I'm going to come up here to the page and I'll click on banner, and we'll go ahead and add an image here, and I believe, here we go, I'll add this blue BG, and you can see how small this image is. So it's 27 by 18 pixels. So when you're uploading a solid background color, you don't need those images to be high quality, because it could be 1 pixel big and scaled up, it would still be a solid blue. So if you're gonna upload a solid background color as a banner, then make sure that image is really, really small. So I recommend like 8 by 8 pixels. Okay, so now if I go back to my home page, we can view how the mega menu looks. And you can see, because we've added the dark background color as a background image, it forces this Squarespace to use the alternate colors that are used when a section has a background. So that is the best way to control mega menu pages that have a dark background, is to upload that dark color as a background image. So very cool. And so if you wanted all your mega menu pages to have this dark blue background banner, then you would just have to go through to each page and upload that background banner. So let's do it one more time just to make sure that we feel confident with the naming conventions. I'm going to go to my primary navigation, and this time we'll create a mega menu for our project gallery. I'm going to go to folder, and this will be mega project gallery. Drag that into the navigation, drag my project gallery page into the folder. Then I'm going to come down here to my not linked section, and we're going to create, we'll do a blank page, and this is going to be mega page and then project gallery. Now I can drag that into my mega menu. And the order doesn't matter, but I would just go in the order that they appear in the navigation. So I'm starting this one from scratch. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to add a title here. This will be our projects, and I'll make that an H2. Then below it, I'll have, you know, a little description here, and then I want a button where people can view all of our projects, and I'll make this a small button. So this will be view all projects. Yep, want it to be small, and then I'm going to left align it. And then I would, of course, link that to my projects page. And then the really cool part is I want to create a carousel here to the right of all of this content. There we go. And I'm going to feature some recent projects in this carousel. So this is going to be a really cool way for people to see recent projects right in the navigation and kind of see like what, you know, if there's any interesting projects right off the bat. So then I'll just fill out this description a little bit. I'll click save. And now if I go back to my home page, the code will reload. And now I can see my mega project gallery here. So one thing I forgot to do is come back to the gear icon and change the navigation and page titles. So I want to delete the mega. So I'll hit save. And now I have an awesome 2 mega menu pages, which are very cool. They really show off my services and my recent projects in a very, just a really, really cool way. Okay, so that is the Mega Menu plugin and how it looks on desktop. In my Mega Menu 7.1 video, I got a lot of questions about what it would look like on mobile. And so I want to go over the mobile view. So the mobile view is unchanged by this plugin. We just have folders and links as they would normally appear. And so the way that I would set it up is because, so right now we have a folder called services, and then in it we have one page called services. So for a visitor, that's just kind of weird. It's like, well, why is there even a folder if there's only one item in it? So what I would do is I would go to my pages panel, toggle open my folders, and instead of keeping the pages in their folders, I would drag them to the not linked section. And then I would add links in here. So I would add a link to each service in this folder. So this would be service 1, and then you would link to the service page for that service, and then add another link for each service. So this would be service 2, and then add a link to service 2, etc. So do that for each one of your services. So then when somebody goes to the mobile view, they see services, and then they can immediately go to each service page. So that for the mobile view, I think that makes a little bit more sense. And then you can just keep your mega menu pages or your actual pages in the not linked section. So I think that that makes the most sense to me. And then the same thing for the project gallery. You could create a link that said, drag this to the not linked section, and then create a link for like view all projects. And then that would just go to the projects page. And then you could create a link for each, like, your top 3 projects that you want to advertise. So this would be like Nike branding. And then, this would go to the Nike branding page. And then you could like fill out each project below. So then when a visitor comes to the mobile menu, they go to services. Oh, cool, there's all their services. They go to project gallery. Oh, I can view all projects, or I can see some specific projects as well. So again, the mobile menu is unchanged by the mega menu plugin. So this structure is for the mobile layout. And if I go to desktop, we're hiding those links anyway, so it doesn't matter what links we put in these folders. So that's more for the navigation structure. And that's true for my 7.1 plugin as well. But I just wanted to show you guys what that looked like. And so the menu is responsive. So that's what it would look like on tablet. And then, of course, we just looked at mobile, and then we get the full menu on desktop. So that is a look at my new Mega Menu plugin for Brine family templates in Squarespace 7.0. If you're interested in getting it, a link will be in the description below. All right, guys, that's it from me. I will see you in the next one.